736 by Senator Cecil Stanton. And Senator, glad to have you with us. We'll let you proceed with presenting your resolution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and distinguished members of this very important committee. I appreciate very much your hearing Senate Resolution 736. As many of you know, or some of you will know, I've announced that I will not be seeking re-election this year, so in some respects this is a bit of my swan song, or one of the last things I probably will be doing as a state senator. Well, a little bit about that. I appreciate that. I'm sure, like you, all of us, when we go home, we sense a great deal of frustration among our constituents, largely with respect to what's going on in Washington today. Polls throughout the United States consistently show that a supermajority of the country believes that Washington has grown too large, wields too much power, and spends too much money. I know sometimes in the grocery store people will ask me, how are things up in Washington? Well, I haven't been there in a few years, and maybe you're like me, you haven't either. But sometimes people do have concerns and think that we can do something, that we have influence. And I'm here today with Senate Resolution 736 quite simply to offer a voice to the frustrations of literally, I believe, millions of Georgians who are frustrated with what's going on in Washington. Now, you and I know that oftentimes there is very little we can do, but the Constitution does provide one option, one remedy, one opportunity for the states. It's something that has not obviously been exercised very often in our history, though Georgia has passed as many as 12 applications on 9 different topics over the years. But it is called an Article 5 Convention of States, and that's what this resolution is about. If we pass this week, we may literally be the first state in the country to pass this particular one, which would call for a convention of states under Article 5 of the Constitution, and it does so for very specific, narrowly focused subject areas which could be considered should such a convention of states occur at some point in the future, provided that enough states follow our lead. The specific areas are these. They're limited to proposing amendments to the United States Constitution that impose physical restraints on the federal government, limit the power and jurisdiction of the federal government, and limit the terms of office for the federal government's officials and for members of Congress. I know that you have discussed this previously in a different form, and so I want to be very respectful of your time. I also know that there are others who may wish to speak to this, Mr. Chairman, but I would commend this resolution to you. It is not going to solve all the problems. It's not a silver bullet, but it is one of the ways in which the state of Georgia we can voice on behalf of the citizens of the state of Georgia some of the frustrations that we have with what's going on in Washington, and send a clear message and signal to Washington, D.C. that we do care, we are paying attention, and we are going to be the voice for our citizens using Article 5 of the Constitution, which our founders gave to us. It's not a way. It's really the way that our founders gave us in the Constitution to deal with a runaway federal government. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I offer this for your consideration. Be glad to answer any questions or have discussion with you about it.
Well, thank you, Senator. We do have members who'd like to discuss it with you. First, Ms. Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator, for being here. Can you just tell me what the difference is between your resolution and the Senate bill or resolution, I can't remember which one it was, from Senator Calvert, and also what's different from, I think there were 2 or 3 House bills and resolutions that we passed on this topic?
Well, you have passed a House resolution, and we're just looking for, it has to pass both the House and Senate. The Senate has done this. We did it first. You've passed a House version. What we're doing now is just trying to get us together with this particular version. The balanced budget amendment is just that. It simply would require a balanced budget amendment, that one thing, at a convention of states, a similar process. While I don't oppose that, I would say that there are some who are concerned that just that single amendment does perhaps not provide some of the things we might like to see. For example, they could decide to balance the budget by simply raising taxes. I mean, we all know you could balance the federal budget if you raise taxes high enough. It might kill or cripple the economy, but nevertheless, that would be an option. So this one is subjects, not a specific amendment, but subjects, and it simply says impose fiscal restraints upon the federal government. So that would be one difference between those. There was another one, and I am not as familiar with it because it has started in the House, and I think it's just come over to the Senate, and I have not had a lot of time to get up on the compact, I believe it's called. There may be some others who could speak to that. But this one would bring us together, House and Senate, and get this particular one done this week, and in this instance, we could be the first state in the country to do this particular one.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Anyone else have questions of the presenter? If not, we'll
Thank you, Mr.
listen
Chairman.
to further comments from individuals who signed up. We have Jack Smith.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, if you would come forward and give us who you are and who you represent, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Jack Smith from the Liberty Group Tea Party out of Ellijay. My remarks are brief to address the lady, the compact. The difference is the Congress can nix it. We feel that this bill offers us the opportunity as states to control what goes on in Washington, and therefore we ask that you do seriously consider passing this on to the body for confirmation.
All right. Thank you, sir. Like your pen there, the Marine Corps pen.
Thank you, sir.
Simplify. No questions for Mr. Smith. I have one other, Mr. David Goldenshoe. I think we've had you.
Chairman, given the time situation, let me just waive anything.
Okay.
And simply ask you to be favorable for
Will do.
this resolution.
Thank you, sir. With that, if there's no one else who'd like to address the committee, we'll close off further comment, and the resolution is now in the breast of the committee. Do we have any discussion among committee members?
Make a motion for
All right. If there's no further discussion among members, the chair will entertain motion. We have a motion do pass, and it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? There being no discussion, the chair will call the question. The main question is a do pass motion on Senate Resolution 736 by SR 736/FA/2. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Chair rules the motion carries, and the bill will be forwarded to the Rules Committee. Thank you, Mr. Stanton. Thank you, too, Jack. Good to see you.